Let's talk mortgages.
Let's talk mortgages. Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Cooper. I'm known as Mscooperhomeloans, but I really want to be known as your loan officer. So today, if you have questions outside of this presentation, you're in a safe space. And I believe I have the answers for you. And honestly, you might be afraid to ask a question, but somebody else is afraid to ask that same question too. And if we can bounce questions and answers off of each other, we can get us to our solution a lot faster. And I have to do it within 10 minutes. So we're gonna make this happen. All right. So my goal is to let you know what the overall home buying process looks like from the perspective of a mortgage lender in 15 to 10 minutes. The common goals, but really the benefits is really important. Why should you buy a house? Any participation?
Sense of ownership?
Ownership, exactly. Ownership, citizenship, and then equity. Equity is the one that I'm going to tell you has been the best part of being a homeowner. Because when you're renting, you're building equity. You're just building it for somebody else. So whether or not you want to get into the game and you think you can avoid it, you're not. You're just either playing as the owner, right? As he said, that part of ownership, or you're playing as a participant, all right? And we want you on the ownership side of it. We also want to help you with payment stability. If you've been watching the news, we all know rent has gone crazy. I had a moment when I walked into this building. So the very first house I bought was actually right on King Street. I bought one of the MBNA employee houses. And I ended up coming here to the Wilmington Housing Authority because I needed help finding a tenant. And I remember the rent for my tenant was $700. That house now is still actually being rented on their list. I don't own it anymore. The rent is $1,756. So when you buy a house and you get your mortgage payment, the thing you're guaranteed with a fixed rate loan is that the payment of principal and interest isn't going to change. Now, there may be variables to the payment along the way because insurance may increase, taxes may increase, but you are back in control of the driver's seat where you don't have to worry about, because the crazy thing of that story, it's the same tenant still in that house. So when they started with me, to now paying almost $1,000 more, and they're still there. Tax advantages. Being a homeowner allows you to take your rightful deductions if that's one you qualify for, whether you do standard or regular deductions. But really the ownership piece, to go back to what the gentleman mentioned, is the piece I hope we all take away. But how do we get financially prepared for this? We have to make sure we start with the piece that probably scares everyone, so I'm going to say it with my back turned to everyone. Credit! We have to deal with the credit, right? The credit profile and assessing the credit can be very scary. But I'm going to tell you what my grandmother told me. Nobody on the phone, the other side of the phone, can beat me. Okay? Which means we got to handle it. All right, we're allowing the monster under the bed to take root in our head and make this thing bigger than what it is. We got to head on and find out what's there. So right now, I'm going to give everybody a tip of where you could take a look at your credit report without a hard inquiry, without the shame, from the inside of your home. Is annualcreditreport.com. And I know the website says annualcreditreport.com, but our legislators have fought really hard on T-Maxing one that we now can access that annual credit report every single week at no charge. Now, the caveat there is that credit report has no credit score. So you still gotta come back to me, okay? You don't get to do this thing without me. Remember, I want to leave today with the title of being your loan officer. So when we're looking at the credit report, the highest or the category of credit that means the most, like let's not get caught up in the actual credit score. What means the most on the credit report is payment history. So if you're trying to figure out from this, you're going to get a lot of information. From this particular segment, what should be most important is payment history. Not the amount of inquiries that you have, not the mix of credit debt, all those things we'll get into. But if you're leaving with one thing, it's payment history. That's 35% of the score. And when you work on the payment history, honestly, the other parts usually come along with that. So we're, as mortgage lenders, are usually looking at beyond the credit score. So you can have a 620, 640, 700, 800, but that payment history is very, very important. And we're looking at how well you've been able to manage your payments over the last 2 years, the 24 months. But if payment history is something where you're experiencing, and I've been there, more month than money, right? We gotta get to a place of having a budget. And that's really, really important. And if you need tools, at Dover Federal Credit Union, we offer CSAs, which are credit score analysis, free within the branches. We'll help you put that budget together. Sue does a great presentation on putting that budget together. You don't have to do this walk alone. I'm not standing here as a banker. I'm standing here as a partner with you. And then we have down payment assistance and the cash, that is the other piece that we're looking at. Cash that you have. So a lot of times we think about how much cash do I need to have in my bank account? Well, we break that down into two categories. The cash that you need to have, one is for your down payment and your closing costs, and then the other category is reserves. And reserves are monies that you still have left over in your bank account after your down payment and closing costs. So if your credit score is on the lower end, we may require you to have more months of reserves, right? That's to prepare you that if life shows up, we want to make sure that you're not choosing on making the mortgage payment or deciding on whether or not, to handle what happens, that you'll have that cushion there. And then maintaining financial stability, that has to do with your employment. So we're going to be looking at your employment history over the last 2 years. So understanding mortgages, we offer both fixed rate loans and adjustable rate mortgages. Fixed rate loans are very stable, predictable payments. And we also offer adjustable rate mortgages that usually offer you a lower introductory rate. And as a credit union, we have safer arms, which allow longer payments that the rate is fixed for, and a very attractive interest rate. So how do you get pre-approved? Sue told me I had 2 minutes.
You have 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. Sorry, I went on my tangent, but I hope you got something from there. So the first steps in getting pre-approved for a loan is making sure that you connect with a lender like myself, and we can have an intimate call. We can meet together as well, and we can really get started. You'll also need to engage with your real estate agent, and we're going to ask you for a lot of documentation. So don't think it's personal based on the documentation that we ask. We ask for everybody the documentation, and the initial list for everyone is usually what we call the 222s. 2 pay stubs, 2 bank statements, 2 W-2s, and a copy of your ID. And if you have those things, even if the credit isn't ready yet, I still would love for you to reach out to me so we can get started. So thank you for your time. Please take a picture of this slide. That is my cell phone on there as well, and my email address, and I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. And Deb has provided you with great folders, and inside of the folders that have my information in it as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All
so we should just